Well, hello everyone. Welcome to episode 3 of tree building with Yanni Plays. Today we are going to build one of my favorite trees, especially since the 1.17 update. As you can see, I used a few of the 1.17 blocks. We are going to build a weeping willow. So out in the nature, you see them often in a very nice symmetrical shape. However, you also see some they are asymmetrical and extend more on one side than the other. So also here again, it is going to be impacted by where is the tree located, how is the wind blowing, do we have a river or a creek or something nearby where the tree would like to hang over. Now if you decide to go with a fairly round shape, then you would use the same method as that we used for our large oak tree. We built a dome around with temporary blocks so that you can make sure that everything is nice and symmetrical. But if you want to have it asymmetrical, you can just go ahead and start building. Now, those trees I really like to build asymmetrical because you, for example, can have a little creek going in between, or you can have a small little pathway that passes under the tree, and so you can integrate the tree even more into your landscape. Now, a weeping willow tree is about 30 to 40 feet tall, and in the width they're usually about 30 to 35 feet. Now, of course, if you go with the asymmetrical, like what we have here, you can extend that up to about 45 if you still want to have something that looks realistic. Now, this weeping willow is a smaller one. It is about 40 feet tall if we would take it into real life size, but I think the weeping willow is also a tree that you can build much bigger and it's still going to look very stunning. So you can go easily with the size about 60 to 70 feet on what we built on our oak tree over there. The weeping willow bark is fairly gray, so the acacia wood actually would be a perfect match. However, with the acacia it's hard to find blocks that go with it because we are going to use a lot of fence posts. Now you can use the dark oak, and this one here that we are going to build, we are actually going to use this color palette here. Now the one that I built over here, what I used is the stripped dark oak wood that also has a little bit of gray in it, and that goes very good with the jungle planks because the jungle planks have a little bit of gray in it, but they also have a little bit of the red that we can find in this stripped dark oak. So the one that we are going to build, we are going to build an asymmetrical again, like the one that we have over here. And why are we not just going and build it right next to this little pond that we have here? We are getting started with our usual 4x4. And this time we are again going 4 blocks high. Now, even we're not going to put the blue wool around it, I'm still going to mark where the top of the tree is going to be and mark out to the sides where approximately I want the tree to end. So for this one, we are going 12 blocks high, and I'm going about 8 blocks in the direction of the lake and about 5 in this direction. Now let's first build the branch that goes over into the area with the larger overhang. So of course, since it is a weeping willow tree, they have branches that come up and then back down again. Now on this side, I'm actually going to double up this branch, so we have a little bit more volume to build on when we are building the overhang. Let's build it over in this direction here. Here I'm going fairly high before we are coming back down. However, on this side, I'm not coming down as low because we're going to do that with smaller little branches. Once we have our 4 initial branches in, we are going to close out a little bit of those gaps. However, we are not going to use too much of the big blocks. We're just going to place a few on each side because most of the branching on this tree is going to be done with the fence posts. So next we are going to take our fence posts and we are starting to bring down some of those smaller branches. As you can see, I'm putting those small branches currently at the bottom of the single blocks, but of course we are going to use many more. So another thing that you can do is, if you have 2 blocks down, put a little L shape like that, and then we are pulling this branch here down. We can pull this one even further down so that it is almost going to touch the ground. And as you can see, all of those little branches are in different lengths. Once we're done with the branches at the bottom, let's go and add a few on the top. And I recommend to actually go a little bit higher in some places. And now with those fences that we place on top, we are trying to achieve a nice arc shape on top. As you can see, this tree here would drop down here with the leaves and go flat over. So we have to fill this gap here. So make sure to look at things like that from all angles. So as you can see from this side here, we are having a very nice arc shape. And if we're looking at the asymmetrical or extended part, you can see that we are going to have more mass on this side than on this side. Now that is not going to be that big of a problem. I think that is still going to look good. So for now I'm going to leave that. But if when I'm placing the leaves I see I actually have to extend it, then we're just going back a step and extend it a little bit more on this side. Now for the leaves I'm going with the jungle leaves. The jungle leaves have a very vibrant color. But you also could use azalea leaves if you have plenty of them laying around. Now to get started placing leaves on this tree, we are going to cover all of the little branches first. And I am starting at the bottom. This is actually something you can very easily do in survival because you can just stand underneath and place all of those blocks. Now, but also when we place those blocks here, let's remember what we learned in the first and in the second episode, that if we have very long straight lines, that we are going to break them up. So for example, this one here, we have a long straight line. Let's just place a block in between to break up this long straight edge. Now here I'm trying to place the leaves directly onto the wood, not like what we did at the oak where we said we also can place it next to a leaf block that is connected to the wood. So let's skip to the next step where we have all the leaves on those bottom long limbs placed. Once we have all the lower branches completed, we can move up and start covering up our fence posts from the top. And we are also starting to fill out around the big branches. Now here we can give more coverage also on the inside compared to an oak tree, because this tree here is a little bit smaller. However, places like that you don't have to completely fill out. Once we have everything covered, let's step back a little bit and make sure that we have our shape that we initially wanted. Take a look at it from all sides. And now here you can see we have more mass on this side than over here. But the only thing that I'm going to do is just cover up a few of those gray spots. And we're also checking from the top, making sure we don't have any big holes where we can see a lot of the tree trunk. Now to texture the tree, we are not going to repeat everything that we learned in episode 1 and 2. If you have not seen this episode, click on the link here on the screen if you would like to know more about how to texture it. So what we're going to do here is we are just looking on the specialties, and that is hanging down vines. Now you can use regular vines that you can put on the leaves. And you also can use glowberries that you have to put at the bottom of a full block. So for example here, and if you want to put some glowing berries in, just use some bone meal. Now to put them on, let's say I want something over here. I go over, I see there is a hole, I fly up and I either put a full log block, or you also can use the an oak block or something like that to put the glowberries on. And we extend it as far as we want. Now if you want to make sure that they don't grow more, you can just put some string underneath, and that will prevent them from growing more. As you can see, we also can use slabs and stairs. And on this side I am going fairly low because I want this one to actually touch the water. And like I said, you also can put on vines if you would like to just have some of them extending down from the leaves. And as you know, they will grow. And here again, the same as with the glowberries, you can just put on a string at the bottom if you have reached your desired length. If you want to give it a little bit ambient light, you also can use some of the grow lichen. And the glow lichen is looking especially good because we have a gray trunk and the gray lichen on it just looks very nice. Another nice thing that you can do on Weeping Willows is use a few of the flowering azalea leaves. Now, Weeping Willows don't actually flower out in the nature, but if you don't care and not always have to stay 100% true to the nature, you can just add a few of them here and there. I hope this video helped you building your Weeping Willow tree. If so, please don't forget to leave me a like. Now, if you would like to see more trees built, don't forget to subscribe and follow along on this tree building playlist. Thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next video.